Hey, folks, it's Lunch with Mal, and we're live. All right, I think I've edited the video, the message on Facebook that says, yeah, it edited correctly. I found this message. It wasn't set in my streaming software. Facebook was actually setting it. It was like put it forever, and it was sending people the wrong video. So I've now corrected that Facebook message. Because YouTube is definitely a more reliable streaming platform. And also, I can reply to YouTube comments. If I make a comment in the video and you're on Facebook, you actually can't see the comment. So I do recommend watching the replays on YouTube. It also helps me out a little bit too, because it allows me to, I would love to monetize this channel at some point on YouTube. So the watch hours on YouTube help me out as well. For those of you who also watch the replays. Um, so yeah, it is the Thursday after Thanksgiving. I almost did lunch with Mal on Thanksgiving Day for U.S. Thanksgiving, that is. Um, but we were doing some things ourselves, kind of celebrating. So they ended up not doing that. But we're back here today. So hey, Jill. Hey, Ms. Ocampo. Middle of a holiday sale. So look, last month sucked. Yeah, Thursday was November is traditionally a tricky month. Um, you have to do marketing is required in November because Black Friday sales start November 1st these days. So it's the month can be tricky if you're not doing marketing, and even if you are doing marketing, it gets more expensive because your advertising competition is stiff, to say the least, during during Thanksgiving. There's been, I think, from what I can see, most people saw a drop, a market drop, either on Thursday and Friday or Friday and Saturday of last week. It depends a bit in your time zone for kind of when those things would show up for you. But there's usually, and that's normal to see, like a pretty pronounced 2 day drop on Thanksgiving. Some years it's more pronounced than others. Um, but I've been doing this now for 10 years. And yeah, let me tell you, November is always a tough month. It's like a good month, but it requires more effort to make it better than October. Um, which so if you don't increase the effort, the month ends up being about the same. Yeah, half the internet boycotting Amazon doesn't help either. Um, but Amazon also had a really weird quirk that happened this month. I'll show you guys on my screen here. So this is an Amazon attribution graph. I've kind of cropped out some of the identifying data because this is actually all from a client. But you'll see, so the purple line, oh, I said that. The purple line is the number of clicks, and then the light blue line is the number of reads. And you'll notice that there was a precipitous drop on the 22nd in the number of clicks. This drop in clicks was not represented in Facebook. Facebook continued to deliver a consistent number of clicks through this period. Now, Amazon has always overcounted clicks a little bit, but now it seems like they're undercounting clicks. I don't know if this is a data processing issue, if they've just changed the way that they're counting clicks. I don't know what's happened, but it's made for some confusion this month. Some people saw it on the 16th, and some people saw it on the 22nd. But you can see, like in a bunch of different ads here, all of them show this precipitous drop in clicks that happened on the 22nd. And like I said, for some people, that drop was around the 16th or the 17th. So it's twitchy. So hopefully, if you did see that, it was not accompanied by a drop in reads, but sometimes there have been a bit of a downturn in reads as well. Now that can just happen in the last week of November. So I've not yet determined, and the first week of December a little bit, I've not yet determined, is this drop in reads because of something related to this drop, this decrease in clicks, or is it just a natural thing? It's pretty difficult to tell. And also don't know if this is just transient insofar as this dip in clicks. And I've seen this on every single attribution account. It's across everyone so far as I can tell. So that's something I'll be keeping an eye on and reporting on as I go. Hey Lee, how's it going? So my main experience has been though stuff like this, where the number of clicks dropped by half, but the reads this reads particular ad, the reads are really choppy, but the reads are being relatively consistent. The highs are just as high. And for a few of them here and there, I'm seeing a dip. But like I said, that could just be, there's a lot of factors that could cause ads to dip. Um, this is, as of today, the first day I would recommend making new ads since US Thanksgiving. 'Cause earlier in this week, you're still fighting the Cyber Monday prices, and your cost per clicks can end up being pretty high. Not always, sometimes they're fine, but they stand a good chance of being pretty high. So this is the first day I recommend. Like if you want to make a bunch of Christmas ads, get on it today. Um, but also, don't start any Christmas ads after noon Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, because that's really when the weekend starts, and that's my standing recommendation. I never start ads after noon EST on Fridays. So Monday through Thursday, and then Friday morning, basically, you can make ads. Friday afternoon, I wouldn't do it because then the ad's still oftentimes in learning mode come Saturday, and people's behaviors on the weekend are different. You don't want an ad in learning mode over the weekend. Yeah, I noticed that, honey. I saw you making ads. Yeah, it's this. So the thing to do really is the next 2 weeks. I mean, really, isn't that crazy? We have 2 solid weeks now before Christmas week. So the next 2 weeks are when you really want to hit your Christmas promos hard. Any additional sales, hitting your newsletter, um, even just kind of like random promos you want to do. Fan service things in the next 2 weeks are fabulous. Definitely consider doing fan service. One of the things I'm doing is over the last 5 years, I've done a bunch of short stories that have appeared in a variety of anthologies, and many of them are now unpublished because I never released them again myself afterward. Um, Partially because some of them, like I forgot the length of the contract that I was supposed to leave it exclusive for, so I just sort of let it go a little bit longer just in case. And I now have like 5 or 6 stories. I have over $100,000, 100,000 words of short stories available that I'm going to be. I guess I can remove that now. That I'm going to be releasing on December 24th. So most of my readership has no idea that this is coming, and on December 24th, they're going to get like a bucket of short stories from me. That, that get out. Yeah, you only have one book or two books out, Miss Ocampo. If it's just one, then yeah, you're gonna be really lucky. The bigger your backlist gets, the more stable your month to month revenue can become. But it is. I mean, this is ever since the first time I got into being an author, the word on the street is that this is a feast or famine industry. Um, yeah, we should actually consider doing that, honey, because I'm doing. Jill just suggested that we do a Book Barbarian promo. Book Barbarian is good for fantasy and science fiction. Another one that's good for fantasy and science fiction is Reign of Reeds, and its reign is in like a monarch's reign, or reigns for horses. Reign of Reeds. Wait, is it? No, I forget. Those are spelled differently, aren't they? I think it's just art. It's the monarch's version. Anyway, I hate when like somebody say something out loud on live. I'm like, I don't know if that's right or not. Yeah, urban fantasy does well in Book Barbarian and Reign of Reeds for sure. It's just anything sort of fantastical. Like it's not the sort of place you do contemporary romance or something like that, but you could do or thrillers. But anything that's like paranormal, fantasy, romance, that's where I think it would work there. Cozy fantasy would work there for sure, um, but not cozy mystery. So anyway, yeah, because we're doing the Rika's Marauders 1 through 7 omnibus is free for 4 days, December 14th through 17th, because I'm doing a group promo advent calendar promo for science fiction that I got in on. So I'm doing that one free for 4 days. So that'll be a good time to cross promo that actually. Um, Good. That's awesome, Campo. Does anybody else have any plans? Lee, what are you doing if you're still here? If you're just lurking, I know some people like they listen while they're doing dishes or something like that, so they can't comment. But, I do feel like this is a great time of year to treat your readers. When I do that free promo, my hardcore readers, like everybody on my list has probably already read those books. But what I'm going to say to them is like, hey, let your friends know this entire box set, 7 books, is free right now. I'm also going to mention them that there's a short story that's only available in that box set. So if they want to get that, if they haven't read it before, this is the way. This is the way to get it. And then boom, like a week later, on the 24th, they're going to get a bunch of new stories that they don't even know are coming. So that's going to be sort of my 1-2 punch for Christmas to juice things up and let them know I'm still rocking. Lee's lurking, trying to finish up a Christmas tree. Hey, look at that! What day is your Christmas freebie happening, Lee? I mean, murder mystery is a very common subtrope, subgenre of urban fantasy for sure. Yeah, and then of course we also there's also like the panic. You're just writing it. You're not like finishing up the um you're not finishing the marketing. You're finishing up the story, is what you mean. Okay, good luck. December 15th, you can still do it. I'm guessing it's not that long, right? Oh, cool. I like that. You're an author. It's your job just to be eternally behind. That's how we operate, right? Actually, you know what? I know some authors who are ahead. I just had a call with Lindsay Gallagher. I'm going to name drop her because she's awesome, and she has a new book out, or a book we're promoting for Christmas that I think people should check out. Um, and she's like writing her. She's just about finished her March release, and I'm just like, I've never ever been that far ahead. I've always been running the ragged edge. Like, oh, I gotta get the editor like tomorrow. Let me write 15,000 words today. Maybe because you wanted to challenge yourself, Lee. You're just like, I can do this. I've got the smarts, and then here you are procrastinating, hanging out with hanging out with me. Not that I want you to leave or anything like that. Plus, if you get if you had a Lisa, she has the other two stories written, so there's just one story, and it's less than 20K on the remaining ones. Look at that. You're staring at it. Staring at your work in progress absolutely counts as writing. I completely agree. It's actually there's a manifesto that I absolutely love. Let's see, Cult of Done manifesto. I love this. All right, so let me read the Cult of Done manifesto for you guys here. I actually used to like have this like taped to my cubicle, various jobs I worked at. All right, there are three states of being: not knowing, action, and completion. Except that everything is a draft. It helps get it done. There is no editing stage. Right, that one doesn't exactly apply to authors, but um, pretending you know what you're doing is almost the same as knowing what you're doing. So just accept that you know what you're doing, even if you don't, and do it. Banish procrastination. If you wait more than a week to get an idea done, abandon it. Okay, that one doesn't work for authors either. So I feel like every single idea we have takes longer than a week. The point of being done is not to finish, but to get other things done. Once you're done, you can throw it away. That's definitely an author thing. Like, get out, you're off. I kick you out of the nest. Laugh at perfection. It's boring and keeps you from being done. That is completely true. That's like every author needs to remember that. All good art is abandoned. It is never completed. People without dirty hands are wrong. Doing something makes you right. Failure counts as done. So do mistakes. Destruction is a variant of done, which I think ties into like this whole part of my book was stupid and I'm removing it. If you have an idea published on the internet, that counts as a ghost of done. I feel like that's our entire job. Done is the engine of more. I don't agree with everything in the manifesto of Done, the Cult of Done manifesto, but I do like the premise. And every now and then I read it to sort of just juice myself about like, okay, get shit done. You can do this. And Done has so many different ways that Done can be manifested. It doesn't have to be just one way. Like I said, destruction is a variant of Done. You know, Done can be a lot of different things. So yeah, it's Cult of Done manifesto. Check it out. Wrote one book this way. You're way behind Deanne Powell. How many has Deanne written this year, Troy? I'm curious. I wrote one book this year and started another. I think that counts as something. Although I guess I only wrote half of the book. But in my defense, it was a 145,000 word book. So I feel like writing half of a 145,000 word book is a lot of writing still. If you have an idea published on the internet, that counts as done. My entire career is a ghost that is haunting me. Isn't that, as an author, I feel like that is super applicable, actually. Oh my goodness, Deanne Powell has written 15 books this year. That is freaking amazing. Writes cozies under, oh, I can't remember her name, her pen name. It's like Zarina or something like that. Why can't I remember her pen name? I haven't seen Deanne in years now. It's really sad too because I won't be going to the US for anything for a while, so I probably will see her for a few more years. Maybe I'll try and convince her to come to the Toronto Indie um, BookCon that's happening in March. That I'm speaking at. Diana Zaritha. That's right. Thank you, Troy. I appreciate that. I am bad at name memory. It's not a strong suit of mine at all. But I love, Lee, that you've got stuff happening for Christmas. That's amazing, and that you've got like a promo that's going to stretch all the way till February. Because the way that things go is, if you work hard and push hard, these next 2 weeks are good. There's a lot of competition, so you have to do smart things rather than just rely entirely on paid advertising, because paid advertising it continues to be expensive through December. It generally peaks around Black Friday and then settles down a bit through December, but it's still more expensive in December to do paid advertising than say it was in October. Then that week between Christmas and New Year's is baller. That's like the week where people have like all this downtime, and all of your hard work in December will pay off right after Christmas, in that week between Christmas and New Year's. And then January usually continues to be pretty damn good until about the third week of January, and then things start to slow down for the February slump. February always slumps more than it should. You're looking at February and you're like, well, it's 28 days. That's like, keep in mind it's 3 days less than the prior 2 months. So, all things being equal, let's say you did $5,000 in sales. So I should probably math this properly. Calc. So if you do $5,000 in sales each of those months, that means you did $161 a day. So all things being entirely equal, same number of volume of sales a day, you'll only make $4,500 in February. Those 3 days shorter, will amount to $500 less on a $5,000 a month income. So it's substantial. So do keep that in mind. But on top of that, February always dips harder than it should. So I would expect, if you're making $5,000 a month, that you're probably going to see something more like $145 a day times 28, so 4,000. So you would a normal February dip, unless you have releases and promos and big things happening. A normal February dip is like 20%, which seems crazy, but it's 3 days shorter and it has a slump every year. So I just want to remember, it's not that you're doing something wrong. It's that February is just, it's wrong. February, people are at home and it's snowing. Why aren't they reading more books? It's every year. For the last 10 years running ads, I've been like, why isn't February better than it is? And it never is. It's always worse than I expected. So just be prepared. Be prepared that your paycheck at the end of April is going to be a little bit less, and plan in advance for that. And that's part of this business, right? It's got lumps. It's not steady all the same all the time every month. So be prepared for the fact that some months are going to have a smaller paycheck than other months, and April gets a smaller paycheck because February just always sucks. So the fact that Lee has Valentine's Day promos already planned, stuff running into Valentine's Day to try and combat that slump, is what you need to do. You need to think about that. Now, more so if it's a career, if this is your only paycheck, it matters a lot more. If writing is something you're just getting into, or it's supplemental income, then it matters a little bit less if 1 month sort of slumps a bit. But if this is your full-time job, you definitely have to plan for that sort of thing. What is a good amount to spend on Facebook ads now? Well, I mean, I would always say you want to make sure that you're profitable. So if you can be profitable, you should spend as much as you can at any point. I would be looking at my. It kind of depends where you are. If you're running steady versus sort of building up, they're very different numbers that you'd be spending. Because I always, if someone's running steady, I like to look at my spend as a percentage of profitability, or sorry, a percentage, not profitability, percentage of gross income. So I keep my spend around 30% of gross income. But if you're trying to ramp up, you'll actually spend more. And if you're just starting out, you might be spending 100% of your gross income on advertising. But once you sort of reach a healthy level, ad spend should be around 30% of gross income. Um, like I said, give or take a bit depending on what you have going on. But I would say that if you're able to get a return on your ad spend, like $20 a day bare minimum right now is what I'd be spending at this time of year. Um, because you should be able to get a return on that. It is a bit tricky though because firing up new ads right now and then testing them for a week or so and then picking the good winners is only going to give you about a week before Christmas. But that week after Christmas is also super powerful. So you have that week going on too. So if you don't have anything going, this will be the time to just be sort of your last chance to get things spun up. Um, Lee says, um, I'm just quoting you like crazy here, Lee. I once made 6K in a February and realized I could make six figures that year. It was delusional, but then I did it. I mean, at its core, everything we do as authors is a bit delusional, right? Like we make up stories in our heads and then we charge people money to read them. Like it's an industry built on delusion. So I think that fits that you did that. Yeah, I remember that first time too when I realized I could make six figures off of writing, and I was just like, "Whoa, is this for real?" And it was probably around a 6K month as well. It would have been like August or September of 2016 that I sort of came to that realization as well. And let me tell you, there's been some crazy ups and downs. Like November of 2016, I made $25,000, and March of the following year, I made 10, which may sound like a ton of money, but it dipped below my day job salary, and I quit my day job. So there was some concern when that happened. Um, are you going to quote me on that now? Now I feel like it's going to show up in like one of your podcasts or something, Lee. Like Mallory said, this is an industry of delusion. That's the perfect quote. I need that quote attributed to me. Judy says, I have one ad doing well at $15. I raised it to 20. I raised another successful one to 20. And Facebook showed it to less people than my $15 a day ad. Depends on when you raised it. If you did your increases too close to Thanksgiving, your cost per clicks might have gone up a lot. It might settle down now. You might try resetting it back down a little bit. The one that's not working as well, drop it down a bit, and then on Monday try bringing it back up again if your CPCs have jumped. Using that chart, looking at your 30-day average for your cost per click in Facebook is useful at a glance, but you always look at the chart. Mouse over your ad name, click on charts, and look at your cost per click. See how it's trending, because that you're going to see a direct correlation between if your cost per click's going up, you're going to see in Amazon attribution your number of clicks going down, and of course then your number of results will go down as well. So keep that in mind. You're saying I need to post a video about the manifesto of done. I mean, I could. I probably have to provide attribution to the guy who first wrote it. Cult of Done Manifesto. I feel like maybe I should make like an author version because I feel like I would need to scrub out the there is no editing phase part. I don't know how old this thing is. Okay, no, this one is from 2016, so that might be no. Okay, no. This is just a more recent post from 2016 because the Cult of Done Manifesto is older than that. Okay, yeah, the OG is from 2009. Okay, that makes sense because I remember having it on my desk like in 2012 or something like that. Jill says, yes, make it author version. For some authors, there's no editing. That's true. Yeah, I have to check the copyright on the Cult of Done just because I don't want to steal someone else's work. But it's entirely possible that they've open sourced or given a creative. Oh yeah, they licensed it on Creative Commons. Okay, beautiful. So I actually can use this then. I believe with Creative Commons license, I still have to give them attribution, which I have zero issue doing. So yeah, I'll make an author version of the Cult of Done Manifesto, and maybe we can get that out. But yeah, Jill's right. The key is that money and business love action and momentum. And that's what the Cult of Done Manifesto is all about, right? It's about building momentum. Whenever I talk to people about their business, not whenever, but often when I talk to people about their business and about writing, I do sort of do my best to stress that momentum and consistent effort to build momentum is the most important thing. When you let off the effort, your momentum slows. And momentum is the hardest thing to rebuild in any business, really. So be aware of that. That even if you want to take a break, make sure you don't take too much of a break in that your momentum slows down. That's not to say that you can't recover. Like I didn't publish for 5 years, and I was able to do not like not like a perfect recovery, like not back to my glory days, but a very respectable recovery for not publishing in 5 years. My readers had not entirely forgotten who I was, which is good. I'm glad that they had. I really appreciate that. Judy says it went from 14 to 48. What did you raise it from? Was that one also at 15 or was that one lower than $15 a day? That is. And when did you raise it? When did you do that increase? Was it over Thanksgiving weekend? Because that's I, my modus operandi with Thanksgiving weekend is DOS's verboten. Usually the Monday before Thanksgiving is the last day I'll touch ads, and unless something is going drastically wrong, I will not touch them again until the Thursday after Thanksgiving. So I create like a 10-day blackout around Thanksgiving where I go into Thanksgiving with ads that are working well and nothing else. I don't touch them for 10 days because it's the if you touch it, you'll break it period of time. Oh yes, yay! All my crazy shit is going to end up on a podcast with Russell. It was 15 last week. Okay, so that wasn't a big bump. I would lower it back down to 15 for the weekend, for this weekend, and then try 20 again on Monday. Is what I would do with that. Just because you'll need a little bit of time for it to sort of reset, and this weekend should be a good reset for it to come back down. Yeah, because I tell you, like my first experience with, oh my goodness, don't mess with things over Thanksgiving. Like I had like a little bit of learning, but back when I first started running ads with Jill, just for ourselves, we just only had ourselves as a test case. So I didn't really have a lot of experience beyond what worked for us. It wasn't until late 2019 and then into pandemic when I started doing ads for other people. Well, actually, I didn't even do ads for the people then. I just consulted and like had visibility into their ads and gave them suggestions and so on and so forth, or help them make creative, whatever. But so I didn't, it took a bit to ramp up the learning. And then once I started doing ads for and with other people, my learning grew exponentially. And now having personally touched, probably about 500 or 600 ad accounts, I've got starting to get more of a feeling for these are things that work in some scenarios versus things that work in all scenarios, which is, I think, the most important thing I've learned because I used to think, oh, we'll just do this and it will work, but that was with a very narrow bit of experience. And as I got more experience, I realized like, oh, that's not the case. It doesn't always work like that. But the reciprocal is I've learned things that never work, and one of them is making changes over U.S. Thanksgiving. So the first time I learned that was 2018 Thanksgiving. I had 2 ads that were absolutely killing it. They were doing so good. They were just making boatloads of money for this one given series with a co-author. The co-author was so excited. Thanksgiving morning, for reasons that I still don't understand, I decided to go in and clean up my ad account and delete a bunch of old ads that I didn't want running anymore. I accidentally clicked on the campaign that was running for that co-authored series that was just absolutely crushing it and deleted it. And you can't bring deleted ads back in Facebook. I don't know why. It seems like it should be trivial, or they should have an archive system or something where you can bring them back, but they don't. So I tried recreating them on Thanksgiving Day, and these ads had been at 13 cents a click before and crushing it. And the recreated ones started off at 35 cents per click, and then eventually went up to 45 cents per click. And then like 2 weeks later, we're back down to like 35 cents a click. And nothing I ever could do to those ads, I tried everything. Nothing I did would get them to come back down to a reasonable cost per click. I literally had to turn off that campaign and then manually recreate it a second time, and then it was fine. Like for whatever reason, like the learning process that ads experience during Thanksgiving, and so anything you do that like changing your budget too much, changing your audience, changing placements, that's where they can kick your ad back into learning mode. And the learning mode during Thanksgiving is just wonky. It never gets good cost per clicks. It rarely works well. It's bizarre. Um, I've retested that theory just about every year since 2018 just to see if it's still valid. I didn't do it this year because I just it's I got to take a break this year because I did test it last year, uh, and it's always been true that like making ads during Thanksgiving week is just they're just never going to work. Uh, I've actually had a client just this morning that we were talking, and she had spun up an ad for her Christmas stuff at 100 euros a day, and I'm like, oh yeah, this ad seems like it's working really well. It's doing all right. And then was looking at me like, are you crazy? And I'm like, well, your numbers are looking like this. It's only been running for 4 days, um, or 5 days I think at this point because we had 4 days of data. Um, and then I went and looked at the spend. I was like, oh, you're spending 100 euros a day. Yeah, this ad's not doing well. And she made it during Thanksgiving, and it was performing at about half of the level it should have been at. So I tell you, it's just my ongoing. Um, the lesson that never stops teaching is that it's this cursed time. Christmas, on the other hand, not like this at all. Christmas literally has none of these issues. You can make an ad Christmas Day and it's fine. It's bizarre. Um, I really think what it is the amount of competition that occurs over that Thanksgiving weekend. And I think what happens is a lot of businesses out there run sales that start on Thanksgiving or start on Black Friday, and they have scheduled their ads to kick off on that day, perhaps not realizing that that is the kiss of death. And so um, the Amazon system is flooded with ads in learning mode on Thanksgiving week, and that's what causes everything to be wonky. And so the learning mode, this is I think it's a scenario that they're unable to fully test and prepare for, and that's what causes that to happen. And that's actually one of the reasons why I think online advertising is the reason why so much Black Friday advertising starts back at November 1st now, because advertisers have learned that the AI algorithms that learn who to show your ads to don't work if you just fire it up on day one. They need more time to find your audience. And so you have to start the advertising sooner to find the right audience. I really do believe that's why um, we see it. Because, I mean, all the sales happen online these days. And the only way we know about the online sales is through advertising, because it's not like we're walking past a brick and mortar store and we see the thing in the window. We have to be shown an ad or at our computers. There's no other way we're going to see it. So, yeah, I really do believe that it's the learning process of Google and Facebook advertising algorithms that have actually stretched Black Friday out to a November long event. Um, it's just sort of the nature of the beast. But I think that's my entire spiel on that topic. I probably beat it to death. Um, but you know what I'm going to do right before I forget, because my brain do be like this. I'm going to make a Alt of Done writer's version. Maybe we can like make like posters and T-shirts and stuff like that. That could be fun for people. We can make them free. Like you can just download them and get a PDF and print it yourself if you want, kind of thing. I think that could be pretty fun, because I do like the Cult of Done. It's it's a good manifesto. My favorite one still is Laugh at Perfection. It's boring, because it's for like we are artists, obviously, and for artists that is super important. But it is really interesting how Cult of Done Manifesto is written for business, right? It's a business thing, but it works so well for creative processes as well. Um, and there's certain things I would change, like people without dirty hands are wrong. Doing something makes you right. Um, maybe like people without busy minds are wrong. You know, something like that. Because I feel like a lot of like as writing, a lot of what we do is think is it's busyness in our minds. Uh, Well, maybe I'll soften it a bit. I don't want to say other people are wrong. I get what they're getting at, though, because I'm sure you've all worked with people who will endlessly speculate about the doing of a thing, or like we all have the friends who like we love to write a book, and we're like, cool, write that book, you know, um, and it applies, right? Like the people who speculate about doing the thing are not necessarily wrong, but their feedback might not be that important. Versus the people who are actually doing the thing, who are in the trenches, who are getting their hands dirty with whatever kind of dirt is accumulated from the work they're doing every single day. So I like that sentiment. So yeah, that's my random thoughts on that. Anybody else have anything exciting they're doing for Christmas? For those of you who joined late, I'm doing a free promo of a 1 through 7 box set. Always works great when I do that. It functions as an amazing lead into my universe. And my fans will also share it pretty readily because it's such a good deal. Plus, that 1 through 7 box set has a short story that can only be got in that box set. So if I have fans who've not read the box set before, they will snatch that up, and that helps the promotion and everything. Then I have a release of a collection of short stories coming out on the 24th that my fans don't know about yet. I mean, like 5 of them do, because I was confirming with them that they haven't, that the list of stories and seeing if there's anything else forgetting. And that was actually where I discovered, by the way, there was a short story I wrote that I never published anywhere. I thought I did. I thought I sent it off to a publisher to go into an anthology, but when I went and looked at the document, it still had all the editor's edits in it. Like I'd never actually gone through and accepted the edits, which is weird because I could have sworn I had. But I confirmed with my readers that I never published it. So they're actually going to get brand new content that has never been published before. And I didn't have to do any new work other than going over the editor's comments. It's only a 10K story, so it wasn't a big deal. And I also have a story that only appeared in a 10-year anniversary Kickstarter edition that I'm also going to give out this year at Christmas because I think a lot of my readers would like to know about it. It's about the wedding of two of my two most main characters, their wedding, and the wedding never happened in the books. It just sort of like skipped over that, in part because it was a 70-year span of their lives, and so a lot of things happened. I sort of just kind of summarized all of the things that happened. That getting married was one of those things. You may wonder about the 70 years. The characters live a really long time. It's far in the future. People don't really get old, which I would love. But anyway, I think that's kind of my spiel for today. So unless anybody else has anything cool they're doing for Christmas that they'd like to talk about or like feedback on, we shall wrap. And I shall save my poor voice because I need to like start doing lunch with Mal with tea. Because talking for 45 minutes straight without a break, like, is really starting to do a number on me. I did not used to have this problem. I don't feel like, but I do have the best drink, Canada Dry ginger ale. It is, or if you're in Canada, it's all crème. All I think it's AUX, but I think you pronounce it all crème with cranberries. Which is also pretty awesome because chances are those cranberries are from Massachusetts, where we used to live, because that's where most of the cranberry bogs in the United States are. Just in case you needed to know that super essential piece of information. All right. Either my stream broke or no one else has any comments. So I am going to bid you all adieu. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. I will see you next week. We have 2 more Lunch with Mal's before Christmas. Wait. 1, 2. Yes, 2 more before Christmas. Did you leave? Oh, that's really cool. Hey, Lloyd. You're very welcome. Thank you for the hugs. Hey, Rebecca. Nice to see you. Yeah, 2 more before Christmas. Can you believe it? 2 more Lunch with Mal's. That's how we count our time till Christmas. Christmas and New Year's both land on a Thursday. But I'm going to figure out a time to do Lunch with Mal still in those weeks. I don't want to go that many weeks without doing Lunch with Mal. So I hope you are. I hope you are earlier, Lloyd. It's always nice to have folks around and to have dinner with Mal. It's great. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock in the UK, right? All right. Anyway, I'm going to chat. I will see you guys next week. Have a good one. Ciao.